There are so many different ways to connect with God. And as much as I love temple worship, it is the intimacy of home worship that has brought a sense of peace and stability into my life. Not through doing something grand, but by paying attention to the small things, the little variations, the meanings behind what we do. Yesterday was Purnima night, and over the last few months I've made it a point to do a Satyanarayan Puja on this day. Earlier, when I would say my Gotra during the puja, it didn't really mean much to me. It was just something you say as part of the ritual. But recently, it started to feel a bit different. There's a sense now of being part of something that has existed long before me and will continue to exist long after me. The closest way I can describe this feeling is through how you feel when you get allocated a school house. You don't really go around announcing it, but you know you belong to it. You represent it. You will run a race for it. You will try to win a quiz for it. You will do what you can to contribute to the overall points of your house. And that's what understanding my Gotra has done for me. It hasn't made me feel proud in a loud way, but it has made me more aware of how I live and what I carry forward. And it's also made me realize just how little I've looked into it. Not because I rejected it, but because I never really cared to learn more about it. And when you don't care to learn, an entire layer of knowledge just sits there, available but unused. One of the most interesting things I've come across recently was a story related to my Gotra, the Kashyapa Gotra, and I really wanted to share it with you. We'll start with Rishi Kashyapa, from whom this lineage or Gotra comes. He is one of the ancient Vedic seers and counted among the Saptarishis, who are the seven foundational sages, and it is said that they carried and transmitted early Vedic knowledge. And I, who belonged to this lineage, had absolutely no idea of who he was. I didn't even know that his name appears in the Rig Veda and that several parts of the Ved are attributed to him and his lineage. And that's when I realized that this is all not distant, untraceable history, and his lineage continues through the names that still appear in our texts. In the Bhagavad Gita, there's a verse where Arjun refers to the sages who affirm Krishna's nature. Asita Devalaha Vyasaha. Vyasa is the sage who is traditionally credited with compiling the Vedas and composing the Mahabharata, while Asita and Devala are part of the Kashyapa lineage, Asita being Kashyapa's son and Devala being his grandson. And here's where my story really begins, with Devala Muni. One day while he performs his puja near water, a Gandharva named Huhu pulls him under. In fright and in quite a bit of anger, Devala curses him to become a crocodile. Now, Gandharvas are not random beings. They are part of the divine order and often associated with Shiva. So when Asita comes to know what has happened, he immediately understands that this is not just a moment of anger. It has consequences. In the retelling that I've read, which is in the book called Invoking the Goddess by Om Swami, Asita first reprimands his son. He tells him that the Gandharvas were in the water before him and he should have chosen another spot to do his puja. He should have preempted that the Gandharvas like to play pranks and simply avoided such a consequence. Asita also recognizes that this curse now will require intervention. He foresees what will follow, that the Gandharva, now cursed, will one day attack a devotee who will call out to Vishnu for help, and when Vishnu intervenes, he will have to use his Sudarshana chakra to end the curse. The chakra, when released, is said to disturb the delicate balance Lakshmi represents: order, harmony, and prosperity. So even though the act is righteous, it's not always neutral. Asita understands that something must be done to restore that balance before it is disrupted. He then goes to Vishnu, who is already knowing of what is going on because Vishnu sees everything. Vishnu tells Asita that he should invoke the 5th verse of the Shri Suktam as a way to honor the goddess in advance. There's another detail that stayed with me in this version, that Asita's wife had already been observing a very austere fast, living on just one leaf a day in honor of goddess Parvati. So this invocation, this 5th verse, doesn't just come from nowhere. It comes from a space where discipline and devotion already exist. Eventually, the cursed Gandharva, now a crocodile, does attack an elephant. The elephant does call out to Vishnu, who appears and kills the crocodile, freeing him from the curse. In the retelling that I was referring to, Lakshmi had already been invoked and pleased, and the disturbance is resolved not just at the level of the event, but at the level of grace. The blessing that follows is that the lineage continues and prospers, which is why the Kashyapa Gotra is considered one of the oldest and most widespread. I wouldn't have come across any of this if I hadn't simply been curious about where I come from. And since then, there are these small alignments that keep showing up in my life. My nakshatra is Magha, which is associated with the ancestors. In fact, its sign is the seat of the ancestors. And my Ishtadev is Lakshmi, who in this story grants the continuity of the lineage. Maybe these are coincidences, maybe they're not. But they do leave you with a certain feeling that there is a place you come from, something you may not be able to see, but something you can still know about. Join me in the next episode as I keep exploring these small, everyday ritual insights and what we can actually do with them.